And with that, the Sharks' 33rd season comes to an end. We'll break it down and we'll tell you how the heck we made it through 82 games. That is so many games right now here on Teal Town After Dark. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Good evening, all. You made it. You made it through one of the toughest seasons in Sharks franchise history. It is April 18th, 2024. The Sharks lose 5-1 to the Calgary Flames. And we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark, our season finale edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive post-game show. We've been here all season long. Yes, all season freaking long. So, you know, if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow hockey fans all over the world and in Sharks territory, hit us up on the YouTube, subscribe that button. Hit that subscribe button, easy for me to say. Follow us on all the socials. We GIF on X or Twitter and on Threads and all the social medias, and you can find everything at tealtownusa.com. If you want to support the pod, we really appreciate if you did. You can hit us up on Venmo at tealtownusa, or you can hit us up in the super chat right now if you're watching us live. And if you're not watching us live, make sure you leave a comment down below, along with hitting that like button on the way out the door. And with that, I say for the final time in this regular season, hello to Ian Reid. What's happening, my friend?
I mean, you know, they went out with a bang at least.
Right? I mean, getting outscored, 14-3?
Yeah, it's you know. But look, I mean, like, was like that Zetterlund goal was pretty.
That
and
was
it
pretty
happened
sweet.
At the very end, right? Like honestly, I'm glad because like there was usually at this point in the season, like I usually I turn off my stream a little bit because obviously I need a VPN to watch the games because you know I just like to sail the open seas. And so normally like I almost turned the game off to get everything ready to do this, right? And I would have been pissed to miss this to miss that goal because it was really nice. But I mean that's wow. I mean there we got all the finished the game. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Let's start. We'll go in reverse order. No. But yeah, it's man, I'm glad they got the goal. I mean, I'm sorry for Dustin Wolf, Gilroy native Dustin Wolf, but I'm glad they got that goal. And like you said, a sweet shot there to get things going. But this was touted as the Battle of the Bay Area goalies. Something, you know, I mean, that is awesome. Awesome to have in history. You know, you have a Los Gatos native Devon Cooley, and you have the Gilroy native Dustin Wolf going up against each other, whether it's a tandem on the same team or going up against each other. The first time there were two California-born goalies, and for that matter, Bay Area goalies that were in the net taking on each other in the history of the National Hockey League. So something special there. That's pretty much where all the special stuff kind of went for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I'm going to make people really angry, but we're going to talk about Devon Cooley here because when I was really happy that I wasn't on the show that he did really well. I'm glad I wasn't on that show because I think it would have made a lot of people really angry with, you know, bringing up guys like Troy Grosnick. The San Jose Sharks, if they did one thing very well this year, they can spin you a story. And I think the Devon Cooley story is good. Unfortunately, Devon Cooley isn't. He's an AHL goalie, right? And I think like, so, you know, when I see people, there was a lot of like after like, oh man, the future. And like Devon Cooley is getting mentioned with like guys like Eklund and Will Smith. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And you know what? And I will understand. I will say one thing. Like, obviously, I'm not local, right? So this shit has no effect on me. It's a nice story. Like, I acknowledge it's a nice story, but beyond that, this shit has zero effect on me.
Right.
You're not
I get
getting
what
me
you're
the,
saying there.
oh, it's a California goalie from the junior Sharks. Like, I don't give a shit. Right? Like, it doesn't do anything for me personally.
Right.
I'm not saying that you're dumb for if it did something for you. I think if you were one of the people like, oh my God, this guy's like a part of the future. No, he's not. He's like, how old is he? 26, 27?
But as we've said before, it takes times for goalies to develop.
Like Kat saying, I think Cooley would benefit from at least one more season in the AHL. He's had like 7 of them. Like, he's not this, like, people think of Devon Cooley, they think he's like this 21-year-old kid. He's not. He's a AHL journeyman who, don't get me wrong, super fucking cool to come in and get to play in San Jose where he grew up and play on an SCP center. Like, I'm not trying to diminish any of that.
Right.
But can we please come back to reality with this guy?
And I think in these last 2 games, unfortunately, that's the case.
Yeah, like, I think it's just like, yeah, I think that's the case, right? Like, I'm not trying to diminish the story of it. Like, it's a cool story, and it was a nice way to end the season to kind of have that cool story.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, can we just stop mentioning his name with Will Smith and Eklund and Musty and all those guys? Like, can we stop that, please?
I don't think it necessarily is to comparison for that, but maybe one of those diamonds in the rough, I think, is what maybe we're going for.
Sure, but again, like, this guy has had okay numbers in the AHL. Like, there is nothing in his history that said, wow, this guy's going to be a part of the team when the team is good. Now, the broadcast will do an amazing job of being like, look at this story. This is so great. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's not good. Like, he's not good. He's an AHL goalie. He's fine. Now, if the Sharks brought Devon Cooley back next year as like a third veteran guy to play with, to play on the Barracuda, I think that would be okay. Like, I wouldn't hate it. But, like, let's look at next year. Next year you got Vanacek and Blackwood. They're your NHL goalies, right? On the Barracuda, right now you have Magnus Corona, who I think it's his net to lose on the Barracuda. Georgi Romanov, who I think has had, he had a couple of good plays here in the NHL, but obviously a lot of those games were super out of hand by the time he came in.
Right.
Not trying to take away anything from Romanov. So, like, you have that set. They signed the guy from Carrier, I think, from Vermont. They signed him to an AHL deal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's already 3 goalies for the Barracuda next year. And then Eetu Mäkiniemi is a Group 6 UFA because he's not going to hit the threshold of games to retain his UFA status. So he's probably gone. He's a UFA, and I can't see the Sharks bringing him back, especially with the play of Magnus Corona this year.
Corona and Romanov, we'll finish up recapping in a little bit with, did fairly well in both mop-up roles. You kind of starting to get the goaltender, pipeline set. So
it's fine. I think it's fine. I don't think it's anything to write home about, though. Like, they don't have that. Like, I like Magnus Corona, but I still don't think they have that guy. They don't have like the Jesper Wallstedt waiting in the wings, right? Like, I think they have guys that could be good, but they don't have that super solid blue chip goalie prospect yet. And this isn't the draft to go try and find one.
Right. So a tough night for Cooley.
Yeah, but I want to say, on the positive for Cooley, and I'm sorry, I just went on my rant right away, and I'm sorry. I thought it was really nice that the Sharks did give him, like, the coaching staff. Obviously, the team in front of him did shit for him, but I'm happy that the coaching staff at least tried to give him a better way to go out, right?
Yeah.
Because after last game, like, I think when when we saw that they had recalled Romanov, like, you're like, okay, so Cooley's going to get Edmonton and then Romanov's going to get the Flames, right? And that obviously didn't happen, but I'm glad Cooley kind of got a chance to at least have another chance to have a better ending to his season than that awful game in Edmonton. Unfortunately, like, yeah, look at the team in front didn't do anything for Devon Cooley. And I do think that needs to be said as well. But at the end of the day, there was a couple of goals there that I didn't like. But I'm glad they gave him the opportunity to do it. I just wish the team in front of him played better.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the whole synopsis of the season. The defense was putrid these last two games, as I mentioned before, being outscored 14-3.
Yeah.
When you have literally nothing to play for, if the players were to tank, even though we should all know by now, players don't tank. They do not want their jobs going anywhere. They don't want to go anywhere. The thing is, you show some effort, because that's the lasting impression. That is the last impression Greer has on you, Quinn has on you, going into the off season. And you have, and again, we'll get later on into about the free agents, but you have a lot of free agents and a lot of cap space to play with going into the off season, and you lay out two big stinkers, and that's the toughest part about this one. I think
Quinn is the fascinating person of all those names you mentioned, though. So he's going into the last year of his deal.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine, like, if there's, I know that this is not a good team. And I know that this team wasn't set up for any modicum of success. Like, this team accomplished exactly what it set out to do, and that's secure the top overall draft pick, or the best odds at the top overall draft pick in the lottery, in the draft lottery. Right. So I know that, but like, I wonder what happens with Quinn next year. 'Cause like, this team got embarrassed a lot this year.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a perfect segue to put the first graphic of the night. In the rough waters, this was a very tumultuous year. And I've told you all many times this year when we've been on, if you ever wanted a feel of what the Cow Palace years were, well, we got pretty close. The Sharks had their fewest wins in nearly 28 years. The most losses since 95-96. That was when the Winnipeg Jets were still in town before they left to go to Phoenix.
Yeah, I'll talk about that later too.
They had 54 losses plus the 9 overtime losses, 47 points, the fewest since 1995-96, I believe. No, they matched. I stand corrected. They matched 95-96 in points at 47.
What's amazing about the point total is like when to put in perspective how bad those like early years were. You didn't games didn't always end with a winner and loser. Sometimes they just ended in a tie.
Right.
There was no, it was like, if you tied, you tied. That was it. There was no shootout. There was no 3-on-3. Like, it was 5 minutes and the game was over. That was that.
Yeah. And it was a pain, fewest goals in a full season. We're not counting those lockout shortage or COVID shortage years. Like I mentioned, the fourth most goals allowed in team history. You had 2 10-game plus winless streaks. You had 4 9-game winless streaks. It was incredibly rough. And
this sucked. I remember the Cow Palace days, but man, that doesn't make it feel better. This still sucks.
Right.
And I know, someone in one of our last shows, they put in the comments, we ate good for a while. Yeah, you're right. We did eat good for a while. Losing sucks. It doesn't matter, man. I'm sure that Chicago fans, even though they have their 3 Stanley Cups to keep them warm at night.
Yeah.
I'm sure the losing sucked for them too. Losing blows. It doesn't, I know eating good for a while is nice. And
right.
I acknowledge the Sharks Sharks fans, we ate good for a long time. Yeah, we didn't get
Mm-hmm.
the shiny silver things, but how many years and like, did we know we were a playoff team? It wasn't, will we make the playoffs? It was, are we going to finally win the cup this year?
Right.
I fucking miss those days.
Those days where I had a nice playoff beer that was itching in the middle of May, or yeah. Those aren't fun. Jerry F with the super chat. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us this challenging season. My son and I always appreciate everything from Teal Town, USA. Hoping for better days ahead.
I hope your son doesn't pick up any of my language. I don't know how old your son is, but if he's young, I hope he's not picking up my language. I'd feel really bad about that.
Ian, let's be honest.
Because mine does, and it's not good.
Ian, he's probably running around and saying "fuck that guy." So, and then it gets taken out of context, and then it just is going to be, as they say, "ako taco." So so we'll see what that goes. But yeah, I mean, to kind of recap the game, we're all over the place as it is on this one. Calgary gets 2 goals in the first. Klapka, of course, because you always have a player that needs a really first NHL goal. Klapka, 127th player to score his first NHL goal against the Sharks.
He's 15. It's okay. Good. Perfect. Amazing.
So it's perfect. Perfect, Sherry. Thanks. So appreciate that. Extra Shift Podcast. Way to get your name out there. I've been on the Ryan Rosofsky gets the job path for a while. Not sure now.
He's been banging the gun on Quinn. I get it. I think that this is the part that I always struggle with, right? Like there's certain things in this team like that their X's and O's that seriously concern me.
Right.
But at the same time, you do want some consistency. And that's the part that I struggle between, right? Because I think like there's some serious X's and O's issues with the way this team plays. But
absolutely.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. It's like I just always kind of just take solace in the fact that the coach that starts the rebuild rarely finishes it. So
yeah, it's frustrating indeed, but so Klapka gets his first NHL goal because, of course, the Sharks now are tied with the Washington Capitals for the second most first NHL goals allowed at 127. I think the Islanders have 129 since the Sharks came into the league in 91-92 in that. Coleman would get his 30th just a couple minutes later to make it 2-0, and you're thinking, okay, that's still not too bad. And then the then the second period hit, where the Flames would score 3 goals in 3 minutes.
3 million, yes.
Yeah, 3 million goals in 3 minutes. That's what it felt like this season for sure.
It certainly did.
Yeah, Shillington his third from Kuzmenko and Mangiapane. Rooney his third from Popsil and why can I read that right? Coronado. And then Mackenzie Weegar gets to 20 with Miromanov and Coleman getting assists on that one. And then the third period, of course, Zetterlund with 8.9 seconds left to finish it up. And it gets Granlund extends his streak to 13 games and I believe 60 points, if I'm not mistaken, in a year where Ian, they need scoring, and my God, do they need it badly.
They need a lot of things.
Understatement of the year.
They need a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, it's bad, right? But I mean, that was the point.
Right.
They need a lot of things. I'm not super concerned at this point. I think that when you look at where they are, it's kind of like this is where we wanted them to be, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, this is where we wanted them to be. Mm-hmm. You don't want them to be a team that goes out next summer and like starts spending a ton of money,
right?
To try and like to what be 12th overall, or to be like 12th in the draft lottery or 13th in the draft or 10th in the draft lottery. Like that's not where you want to be. Yeah, it sucks, right? I mean, this team's bad, but it was bad by design.
Right. This is what they were supposed to be, and they can polish it and try and make it look as good. I remember David Quinn was kind of said they had a quiet confidence in the group, and then it just went to to that. But
I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, the team's bad by design, and then on top of it, like I think Zetterlund's the only guy who played all 82 games this year.
Yep. I mean, they lost
right?
400 games.
Yeah, a ton of man games lost to injury. Team wasn't very good to begin with. The team injuries kind of tanked both seasons. Like, I don't think the Barracuda were that great to start the season. Like, on paper, I didn't think they were amazing, but I thought, again, 7 teams in the Pacific make the AHL playoffs. So it's like, okay, well, could they be a playoff team? Sure, why not, right?
Right.
Almost every team in the Pacific Division makes it. But then, like, right away, they lost some of the guys they brought in as veteran players to be veteran players for the Barracuda get brought up and never go back. The injuries tanked both seasons, really.
Oh, yeah.
And great for the NHL squad because there's a draft lottery at the end of it for it. The Barracuda just suck, and they're just a bad AHL team in a team where being bad gets you absolutely nothing.
You mean we can't even win the AHL draft lottery? What the hell?
There's no AHL draft lottery. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Let's get some of the comments, and then let's talk about some other shit, because we could continue breaking down this game, but what the fuck are we doing at this point?
It's fine.
Because what I really want to do, there's a couple things I want to talk about. What I really want to do,
folks.
What I really want to do is kind of look at, you guys have listened to us for 82 games. I kind of want to listen to you. So what I'd like to do is we'd like to get through some shit. I want to talk about Utah for a second, and then but other than that, like I kind of want to at the end of the show kind of just open it up to you guys, and then I'll tell you when to start putting your spicy takes in the chat, and we'll go through them, man.
Yep.
And you listened to us for 82 games. The least we can do is listen to you for one.
Yeah. I mean, granted, you guys are part of this show, of course, and we appreciate each and every one of you doing this, and to everybody that's joined us. I think NBC just went off the air, so thank you to everybody joining us. So let's get to some of the comments that came out of the locker room. We'll go with these really
quick. Ricky, I just want to hit Ricky in the chat here first. If Couture didn't get injured, do you think we still get last? Yeah, 100%.
Oh, easy.
100%.
Easy. It goes to show you, it does go to show you, Ian, that Erik Karlsson's crazy year last year didn't help. It didn't help.
It didn't help.
It didn't help, but it also goes to show you how that kind of helped things out to kind of polish that turd, as we've been kind of saying in there. So let's get to some of that. Kyle Burrows, a little bit of frustration. Tough to get into it right now. It's tough to reflect on things now, but we obviously need to get better. You go on to say Romanov is great. He made some big saves despite being in a tough position. He stepped in and did really well.
Yeah, I think he did really good, and I don't want to take too much away from Georgi Romanov, who's a goalie that I really like. Right. But I do want to point out that he did come into games that were super out of hand.
Right.
So I don't want anyone to think, oh well, Ian's trying to say Georgi Romanov isn't good. I think Georgi Romanov's great. He's like whoever's the scout that said bring this guy in, give that guy a bonus. Like it was a real nice pickup from a player that I think when a lot of us saw him come in and kind of looked at his VHL numbers, we're like, all right, yeah, okay, great, cool.
Didn't we fire our Russian?
We did.
Scout?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully it was someone else, but yeah, no, whoever stick taps to whoever brought Georgi Romanov in.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree. Burrows would finish up by saying Granlund was our MVP for a reason. He's a heart and soul guy, veteran in the room. He built on this and will be a better version next season. Zetterlund would then come in and say it didn't really matter. It was nice to get one in, but no. With him scoring with less than 10 seconds left. Zetterlund on Cunnin, we need more of that. A game is a full 60. I don't remember the last time we played a full 60. We'll come back stronger next season. Of course, the one thing
I don't think Luke Cunnin is particularly good at hockey. But I would agree with that assessment. Like, I think he does play the full 60. I did like that he was pulling, he pulled the dude off of I think it was Georgi Romanov at that point.
Yeah.
I did approve of that. Yeah, I don't like Luke Cunnin, but I don't ever question his effort.
Fair. Devon Cooley had to take on the media. I feel for this guy, but he's got some great insight, so it's always nice to have him on there. I don't know Dustin personally. It's awesome to see how far youth hockey has come from the Bay Area. I hope
that's awesome.
Some more guys from there.
Right? When people ask you why do you put hockey in quote unquote stupid places, that's why.
We'll continue on. That Edmonton game took a hit on my confidence. I reverted back to some of bad habits tonight. I couldn't beat the mental side of things tonight. I played small and on my heels. It's been crazy whirlwind. I'm fortunate that San Jose took a chance on me. It means the world. My last 2 games was the worst case scenario, but I'm still thankful. I was really excited that they went back to me tonight. I was excited for a strong finish. I just lost a lot of steam and it snowballed. So the one thing I think with Cooley is that he does recognize and he's not BSing, with the media. I think he's been more than anything very realistic.
The nihilism, like when he was just like, we'll die and nothing matters. I to me, man, that's like Devon Cooley should be my guy for that alone. But again, again, it's a great story, and I think it was a nice distraction from reality, but reality still reality.
Yeah, I get you, and it's a rough way to go because of the story, and it just has a crashing end to it. From David Quinn, some good individual efforts tonight, but we can learn an awful lot this off season. Yeah, starting when you get on the plane. A lot of new faces, tough to learn on the go in a short period of time, but we're not the only ones going through it. We knew this would be a tough year and we'll be better for it.
I hope so. I mean, that's the one thing, right? Like, you hope that you're going to be better for it. I hope that obviously things in a couple of weeks when we do our little lottery balls, I hope those things go well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I have hopes, man. Like, obviously, like, we don't want to be in this situation forever. Although I was looking at the list of teams yesterday of like teams that didn't miss the playoffs and when their last time in the playoffs was, and shit, that's bleak though, man. When you think about it, like some of these teams, how long they've been out of it. The 2 teams that came to mind were Buffalo and Detroit. And I'm like, man, could we do this for another fucking 9 years with no playoffs?
It won't help the attendance, that's for damn sure.
Nope.
I mean, it's already a rough spot, and and we'll get to the Coyotes in Utah, but now that they're out of the loop, the attendance will be magnified. And don't think Canada.
I don't think so. Here's the thing, right?
I don't know about that, but go ahead.
Here's the thing. But it's fine though. Like, the Sharks have solid ownership. Like, right. Maybe I don't always agree with Hasso-Plattner, and maybe there's some things that Hasso-Plattner has overseen that I don't like. But you're gonna you're right. Now that the Coyotes are gone and the league's favorite punching bag's gone, who are they gonna move to? Could it be a team like San Jose with their attendance? Sure, but you know what? It's going to be dumb, right? It's going to be, and the worst part is it's going to be coming from people that I share a nationality with, for the most part, right?
Right.
I just, it's noise. It's fucking noise.
No, I know. It's noise. It's annoying noise.
It's annoying noise. It's stupid noise. I don't think the Sharks are in any danger of relocating.
Oh God, no.
Like, don't
No, I'm not.
If that's your take at the end of the show, when I toss it to you, please don't. Just
no.
Don't.
No. Far from it, dude. Far from that. No, I just I just know that in particular there are a lot of people that ooh, We need to get them to Quebec. And like, yeah, okay, no.
I'll talk about that too when we talk about Utah.
Yeah. John Swenson, $10 super chat. Thanks for all the coverage this season. Are there any young free agents the Sharks should take a run at? Maybe overpay a player coming off of a rookie contract.
So you can't offer sheet a guy coming off his first contract. That's the first thing. You can't offer sheet a guy until he's arbitration eligible, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. I do say a lot of dumb things. Actually, speaking of dumb things I said on this show, last show, I'm glad you brought this up so I can get this out of the way. No, it's fine. We do this live, and sometimes when we're trying to talk and kind of keep a steady conversation going, and you don't always have time to have things register when you run your mouth in your live, and you can't go back and do an edit, right? And so I said on the last show that Will Smith wasn't coming, so it's fine, because if Will Smith was going to come, it would have been already, so he could burn the first year of his ELC. That was really stupid. Will Smith was just drafted last year. He is too young. He has entry-level slide. So by not playing 9 games his ELC, he would need to play his 9 games. The only time that a college player coming to the NHL can burn the first year of his ELC is if he's 20 or over. So that was dumb on my part. Let's get that out there. Every once in a while, the Angry Canadian Robot has a fucking short circuit. That was one of those times.
Gotcha. No, I mean, and those are the little nuances that we will need to learn as we go into the off.
I know better. I'm just dumb. Like it was just a stupid thing I said in the heat of the moment, trying to string thoughts together to keep this thing flowing.
Right. No, I get you. I'm glad thank you for the clarification.
But to answer your question, I don't know. I mean, like, I look at guys, to me, I think if you see like a younger guy that might be a piece that you think you can, like, maybe who's not having had downtime, and we're trying to get, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like, if you think you have a guy that you could reclimate and make good for the future, then I think they should probably get that guy. What I would kind of like to see is some more veteran guys that are actually good brought in.
Yes, that I think we can completely agree on in that realm.
You know what I mean? Like, I would just rather see like a guy who I would target in free agency if he becomes available. I would bring in a guy like David Perron. I want guys that kids can learn from.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not going to be good next year. Like, kids, if you think this team's going to be even like, they might be a little bit better this year. Maybe they're not first overall bad this next year, but they're going to be bad next year, guys. Like, so if you could bring in like a guy like David Perron, a guy who's like, has the leadership qualities that can come in and shepherd the younger players along. That's the kind of player I would look for personally. But I think if you have a guy who you think you can reclimate and bring in on a steal who is young, that could factor into the core when this team's good, like, there's definitely players that you could do that with.
Gotcha. Well, while we're in that, we finished off most of the Quinn stuff, but since we're on the free agent topic, here's the list, and it's a long one. Free agents for the Sharks. UFAs, you have LeBanc, Hoffman, Barabanov, Bailey, Carpenter, McDonald, Cooley, and Lindblom. On the RFA side, you have a lot that are arbitration eligible, but you have Cunnin, Bordelot, Zadina, Stanika, Thrun. I put Stanika in there twice. I was hoping he would be better if you mentioned.
I hope
he's
double gone.
Yeah, Kalen Addison, Emberson, Coe, Peterson, Makiniemi, and according to Cap Friendly, $35.4 million to play with in the off season.
So I do want to make a correction here. E2 Makiniemi is going to be a Group 6 unrestricted free agent. He did not hit the threshold of games played, so his rights will not be retained by the Sharks. I don't think it matters. I feel like even if Makiniemi was still an RFA, that they could qualify. I don't think they were going to qualify him to begin with. I think Luke Cunning's back. I think Bordelot's back. Brandon Coe's an interesting one. He probably gets in one more contract, and they probably hope he can figure it out. I think Henry Thrun is back because again, he's coming into his second contract. I would fire Studnicka into the Sun. I would fire Kalen Addison into the Sun. I would bring back Emberson. Peterson, I don't know what I'd do with Peterson. He's another guy who, whatever. As far as the UFAs go, I might bring back Justin Bailey, but I would fire that whole group into the Sun.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I would fire that whole group into the Sun.
I mean, let's be honest here. I think LeBanc was supposed to be gone last season, and he just played out the string. I mean, when you're getting college free agents, signing and taking your spot, and the only way you're getting in is because of injury.
Oh yeah, LeBanc's days are numbered. That's without a doubt.
Hoffman.
Some people are saying like Cunnin should go. I think that he's a guy that Mike Grier likes. So I think he'll be back. I am pretty indifferent on it. Like I think if Luke Cunnin was like playing on your fourth line, like that's fine. I love Luke Cunnin on the fourth line. The problem is that he's getting paired with fucking Eklund.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Luke Cunnin.
So I'm gonna just go down here because there's a lot of players and names mentioning in here and here. Ricky's mentioning Mikheyev has a cap dump from the Canucks for some picks.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, right? Like I think I don't know how successful the Sharks will be at this, but having cap space to bring in just like horrid contracts for draft picks, totally viable strategy. The cap is finally going to have a significant bump. I don't know how, like, it's not going to be super significant, but it's compared to where we've been for the last whatever years it's been, like it's going to be significant. Is that going to be enough to make that, like, it sucks that the Sharks like are coming into the situation now as the flat cap era is over.
Yeah. Jonathan Drouin, who's kind of been a reclamation project in Colorado.
Yeah, he's like, again, there's a guy, like I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Like I don't hate it.
Thomas Novak.
Yeah, again, I don't hate it. I haven't put a ton of thought into this yet. Like, so these names, like, I don't hate them. I just, without knowing what else is out the door and what's coming in, it's hard to make those calls right now. Like, at a glance, without too much thought, like a surface level look into it, I don't hate it.
Yeah. Ricky mentioning Anthony Mantha might be a good pickup. Who hasn't done too much for the Vegas Golden Knights. And another another Vegas Golden
I think someone's going to pay Anthony Mantha.
Alec Martinez.
Again, a veteran guy who you can probably bring in on a short deal to help usher along the kids. I don't hate it. I don't hate those kind of things. I would like to have a better veteran group for these kids to play with.
Yeah. Lee mentioning veterans will come, but not the good ones. Yeah.
You never know, though.
You
never know if maybe you have to overpay them a little, but again, overpaying them a little is fine this year if you're bringing them in to usher along. And then, of course, you're looking for guys that you're going to flip at the deadline, right?
Right. I mean, it didn't work out too well. I mean, I think we were hoping for Ruda and Hoffman, and that went to Phil. But, I mean, you got something in return for Duclair, which is nice. Who knows if maybe Duclair comes back, although he's been lights out for Tampa. Maybe he can kidnap Stamkos to come over. I mean, come on. If we're wishful thinking.
Yeah, like I don't think the Sharks should be throwing offer sheets around for sure. Yeah, no. Sharks should absolutely not be throwing offer sheets around.
Yeah.
You do that when you're contending, not when you're building.
Rob, we didn't make the playoffs. Sorry to inform you.
Oh, dude.
so close. PJ Bailey would be a good resign. Yeah, I completely agree. Wouldn't resign Zadina?
I wouldn't. Like, I don't know. I personally wouldn't, but I could see I could see it, right? Like, yeah. I could see him coming back. I can see a world where that happens. As, again, surface level thought on it, on the spot right now, I wouldn't probably, but I might change once I actually decompress a little bit. And I think once some of the, what I mean, as we get into the off season and there's more, you start thinking more about these things, and maybe I might change my mind. But
Gotcha.
at this second, I don't care.
As AJ would say on the Puck Knowledge, if you use the super chat function, you go straight up to the front of the line. Birch 7F91. We need to start a fund to bring in to San Jose for the next time the Sharks have a home playoff game.
So here's the thing.
So we got time.
There's border. Yeah, we have time. We do have time. There's some border issues, but I think I might be sorting them out. So we'll see.
All right. Cool. That'd be great. Just kind of continue on going through what we have here. I lost my spot. Jules, just wanted to hop on really quick and thank you all for supporting the show throughout the season. Yes, Jules, we'll get to our thank yous at the end of it, but we love you, my friend, and we'll be talking May 6th or 7th and making our potential hotel plans, so we'll see. Continue on here. AO saying everyone in a sin, Eden. They're trying to
hey, John,
you.
Is Ian allowed in the USA? I think so, yeah. But I don't know for sure. I think so, yeah. For a long time, I thought I was not, but we started doing some like super actual research into it because we want to do some travel coming up. So I was going to get my passport anyway. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'll know more closer to the time, but it's not as no as I thought it was at one point.
Gotcha. And you've actually met a friend of mine who actually now lives like 2 blocks away from me. Ray Denny. He has a house in Michigan as well. So yeah. So,
yep, I have met Ray. Yeah.
Yep. So Ray, if you're watching,
super nice guy.
Good to see you, bud. Oh man, you should hear his potty mouth when the Niners or the Sharks lose. Holy, it's like fucking Sharks, fucking shit, fuck. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, continuing.
It's okay. No, where were I was going to ask you where we were.
Oh, I'm just going down the list of stuff for like their UFA or free agent wish list. That Jules saying, I have said this before, I'll say it again. Jack Roslovic 3 times 5.5.
I don't hate Jack. I like Jack Roslovic. 3 by 5.5 though. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Again, surface level thoughts.
Yeah. John saying, here's a question. Do you target a forward or a defenseman first this offseason?
Both. I think the Sharks have so much shopping to do that I don't think it matters which whatever they do. Like I think they're going to have a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Kevin Way talking draft. If the Sharks take Levashov over Boyum.
Zeev Boyum is the most interesting player in the draft because I have no idea where this motherfucker is going to go. Like I just don't. Man, it's hard, right? Because like he had a really good playoff run with Denver, who obviously won the national championship. Yeah. And he had a really good playoff. And I think he had a good World Junior too.
Yeah.
He's fascinating. I am fascinated to see where he ends up. I feel like 2 is too high, but he's a player who I'm fascinated because I have no idea where he's actually going to go. He's one of those, every once in a while you get a player in the draft like that where it's like he's not going to be he's probably not your top pick, but like he could go anywhere. Like to me, he could go anywhere from like 4 to 14. Like that's just the way I see him. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, totally. And the list has just been fluctuating all over the place because it used to be, all right, Celebrini's 1, but Yzerman was number 2, and then it went to 3, and then it kept going down. So it fluctuates. I know they just put the last Central Scout rankings out.
Yeah,
so that'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, a lot of talk of like if the Sharks don't so here's the thing. as far as the draft goes and everything, like I'm trying to be I'm trying to be positive because mostly I don't control this. Like this is shit that I don't have control over, so I'm not stressing about it. I choose to be positive. I choose to think that the Sharks are going to end up, winning the draft lottery and they're going to get their guy. Okay. If they fall to 2 or 3, I think it's interesting. Usually a guy like Demidov would scare the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. But unless something's changed, he's under contract for 1 more year in the K. So it doesn't scare me as much as the Russian guys usually do, because the Russian guys usually have like a shit ton of fucking contract time left. Right. And then you kind of like never know. So like Demidov doesn't scare me because he only has 1 year left on his deal. And like a lot of people compare him to like Nikita Kucherov, and I think that's pretty like now is he gonna? I'm not saying he's gonna be Nikita Kucherov, but that's a guy who I see a lot of people compare him to, just based on numbers he's put up and stuff. And like again, like if you don't get Macklin Celebrini, you gotta make sure that you get this pick right.
Right.
Because this is where the Sharks can get into trouble, and this is how you end up being a team that misses the playoffs for 10 fucking years straight, because you never get the guy. You just get guys like and good guys, don't get me wrong, but you need the guy at some point, right? And I like Will Smith, but I don't think Will Smith is the guy.
You think he'll need some more support?
Yeah.
Preferably through veteran presence, and I would hope that would be the case. So like
don't get me wrong, I do like Levchinov, and maybe at 3 if like, but I to me, and this is again, I don't do prospects like I used to do prospects, right? I don't hate Demidov at 2.
Right. All right. John Swenson. They're going
not guy factory guys, just good guys, but never the centerpiece guy.
John saying the Sharks are going to get to number 2. They're going to take Levchinov because they don't have any luck in the draft. And Levchinov is hard to spell.
Yeah. Again, let's get AO's thing, and let's get to the.
Yep. Let me get to that.
Get to the Coyotes here quick, and then we can open it up to the people more.
Yeah, so Brycar75, $13.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for all your hard work. Always enjoy tuning in. Appreciate you. I think the first time I've seen you on here, so thank you very much for that. AO, $4.99 super chat. This goes towards the bribe for the Border Patrol agent when Ian comes to San Jose. Thanks to the entire crew for putting up with this season.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? And again, guys, like we say this, I try to make sure I say this as often as I can, but like obviously this shit doesn't happen without you guys. Like,
right.
I mean, I could talk about hockey to Puck Guy and whoever else wants to listen to me, but I like the season's over, and like as excited I am to watch the playoffs, because I always watch the playoffs. Yes. Like I love hockey as a sport in general, but it's the end of the season. Even like the end of this season, without doom and gloom about what happens next, it's depressing, man. Because I know like I don't get to do this like once or twice a week anymore, and it sucks, super sucks. And and you guys make that possible. So
what we haven't told Ian is Ian's going to do a marathon of Stanley Cup After Dark and recap every night of the playoffs. So no, I'm kidding. It's wishful thinking. Unless you want to do that, then you got to hit us up on Venmo and Super Chats for that.
John, just want to hit John first. So the NHL Central Scouting rankings are done by North American skaters and European skaters separately. They're really they're garbage lists, because they rank them separate. I think Demidov was listed 2, which was wild to me. But NHL Central Scouting is always gonna be 6'8" defenseman. Yay!
Oh yeah, of course. We should mention. I guess this is kind of more of like a wraparound. 2:04 left in VGK versus Anaheim. VGK on the power play down 3-1. If they were to lose that game, they will be the wild card and head to Vancouver for round one, and LA would be taking on, I believe it's Edmonton. Yes, in round one. Those are the two series that we are waiting on to be figured out. And LA is up 3-1 on Chicago in the second intermission for that one.
100%.
So let's go ahead and talk about the big news that happened, earlier today, and that was the sale of the Arizona Coyotes to the Smith Entertainment Group, and they are headed to Utah.
Yeah, I mean, this sucks for Coyotes fans, right? And I know, this the easy snarky response is like, what, all two of them? Yuck, yuck, yuck. This blows. And I think the thing that bugs me the most about this, and it kind of bugs me, like, anytime you lose a team now in the NHL, because I think the NHL, like, especially fucking Arizona, man, like, if there's ever been love somebody, get someone who loves you as much as Gary Bettman loved keeping the Coyotes in Arizona despite everything. The Coyotes got hurt by shit ownership, right?
You got to pluralize that, to be honest.
You're right, shit ownerships, but mostly shit ownership of the last one, right? Because I think this is a team that, if these guys had just paid their bills, they'd still be in an NHL building in Glendale.
Yep.
Right. When it came time for the Tempe thing, like, I've seen things on Twitter, and I stress to people this, and I'm going to get kind of dumb for a second here, and everyone's going to get mad at me, but I don't really care. You don't have to make up shit to be angry about. You can just be angry at what is. I've seen this nonsense, like how, like, the NHL and the Smith Group somehow, this convoluted shadow thing where they fuck the Tempe thing. The Coyotes fuck the Tempe thing, man. The Coyotes fuck Tempe. Because here's the problem. If you're someone who wants to be on the hook for this shit as a taxpayer, do you want to build an arena for the team that didn't pay their fucking bills at the last building you were in?
And also had questionable hotel bills.
Yeah, like, you don't have to make up things to be. You can just be angry at what is. Like, if the owners had just paid their fucking bills, the Coyotes would still be in Glendale. Is Glendale ideal? No. They could have still tried to find another arena, but they wouldn't be at fucking Mullet.
Exactly.
That's the one thing sad for me, though. Like, I wish that I could have gone to Mullet for a game. Like, I'm sad that I won't get that opportunity now.
Yeah.
This is over. I'm kind of bummed about that, man. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a really big bummer, and before we get out of anything, it was a bummer when anybody loses their team, whether it was Winnipeg or Hartford or Quebec or any of that. But for Arizona, I think they said on the broadcast tonight, 27 years, they made the playoffs 9 times. I think they got out of the first round 1 time. It was that 2012 year, but they had made the playoffs 9 times, and they had 7 owners, and to go through that was just, and with constant rumors of moving to Houston or to Hamilton or to Kansas City or insert the city name here. I think there was even one about beating the expansion team to Seattle,
Yeah, like, and I'm not 100% on the Tempe thing. Extra Shift saying that they lost to the Tempe vote for not agreeing to use union labor, an easy thing not to screw up there, for sure.
Agreed.
And you probably, and from my understanding, and again, I don't live in Tempe, I don't know this for fact, for sure. But what I've gleaned from the situation was that the Coyotes didn't really do much in the way of campaigning for the vote to go their way. They kind of just expected it to go their way, and I think that kind of sucks. But can we stop calling this a fuck? Like, I understand that they made the Coyotes inactive and now they're going to think, but, like, this is a fucking relocation. Are we having an expansion draft? No. Are the draft picks different? No, they're the same draft picks the Coyotes have always had, and they're going to pick where the Coyotes would have picked this year. Like, can we stop calling this a fucking expansion? This is an expansion. The team that comes back to Arizona, that's going to be expansion, because there'll be an expansion draft and expansion rules and all the shit you hate about the Vegas Golden Knights and Seattle Kraken. They're going to get that too.
Yeah.
Like that'll be an expand. Like I know it's semantics, and I understand that like it's technically not a relocation because the team IP isn't going with it. But like, can we just fucking call it a relocation? Like instead of being like, well, actually, the actually fucking meme. Like, can we not do that? But if you all send me that meme on Twitter right now, I will love you forever. So, actually.
Yeah, the tough part is that you're relocating a lot of people, and I'll even say it. I know a couple of Coyotes fans. Deke Slayer, that's on Twitch, one of my favorite Twitch guys. He's really bummed about it. A friend of mine, and her name is all of a sudden blanking out on me. All of a sudden, she got married 2 weeks ago and went on her honeymoon, and she comes home to find out that her team is gone.
Yeah, it sucks. That super fucking sucks.
I want to say
I have
Rhonda
a ton
Hutchinson.
of sympathy.
Yeah. She actually, Rhonda Hutchinson was the one that went up to Glendale City Council and went off on them when Glendale was trying to get out of the lease for the Coyotes originally. So, but yeah, I want to shout out
your fucking bills.
Yeah, no kidding. But I want to shout out Craig Morgan, Leah Merrill, and Steve Peters from the PHNX Coyotes podcast and such. They've been all over this.
They did it. Yeah,
they did a phenomenal job. Much love to you. All the best. If you want to follow the Sharks hockey, we'll be more than happy to have you come over.
For sure.
But that's just a bummer. But for Utah,
it sucks, right? And like this clown that owns the Coyotes, or owned the Coyotes, I guess at this point. This clown, not only like the only thing this guy's good at is cashing fucking checks.
Yeah.
Because all he ever did as owner of the Coyotes was cash fucking revenue sharing checks. And now he's going to cash $1 billion check. Now I understand that they had to do it this way because obviously the NHL didn't want this guy to go to court. So they had to make him whole. But like all this ownership has ever done, like I hope that that Arizona someone can build an arena. I just hope it's not this fucking clown.
Well, he's got
because all this guy's ever the only thing he can do is cash fucking checks, cash $1 billion check to be made fucking whole.
Mm-hmm.
On the fucking, to be made whole and getting 3 times what he fucking put into the Coyotes out of it. Right. And I understand they had to do that because, again, you do not want this thing to go to court and then have the team be in limbo. I understand that completely.
Right.
But like, I hope Arizona gets a team back.
Yeah.
I hope the land auction works out, but man, I hope it's not this clown.
Yeah.
That they're supposed to all come back and fucking embrace this clown's fucking team with open arms. Because like I said, the only thing this guy has ever done is fucking he can cash checks, but he can't pay them. Apparently, he can't write them.
Exactly.
He can sure fucking cash them.
Yeah.
And like to think, like this team, these fans, what they went through, they've had a foot out the door forever. They were the NHL's fucking money laundering scheme where contracts were just sent to them so that they could hit the floor without actually paying anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a man. I feel like if you are a person who stuck through the Coyotes through all that bullshit, you are a real one.
Yeah.
You're the real one, man.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. So we hope that the Coyotes get back to Arizona. In the middle of our talk about the Coyotes, it went from 3-1 LA to 4-3 Chicago. The Kings only need a point to clinch the third spot in the Pacific, and right now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So there's a little bit of that going for you there. Let's quickly jump over to the playoffs since that's kind of a fresh topic here, and we know 6 of the 8 matchups, but
okay. Here's the difference. So Ricky, he insists just we're not at the Capillary might do. Okay, look if the Sharks do that, that's fine. But like again, it's a point, right? The point I'm trying to make is that like these fans, they've got like guys like Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther. They were finally they should be on the come up, and now that they're finally on the come up, they lose their team. Like at the Sharks might do some of this shit, but the Sharks aren't losing their fucking team. Like, we're going to have the Sharks are still going to be the Sharks when all this is said and done. No one's taking the San Jose Sharks out of San Jose.
Right.
That's the difference. That's the point I'm trying to make.
And Ryan Smith, the new owner of the team, a couple of things. One, they're going to be just known as Utah for right now, which I think is the stupidest thing in the world. And two, is willing to spend. And if you're going to be willing to spend, watch out for this team. That will be
man. Like, it's good, right? Like, it's going to be, it's like I said, it's a team on the come up, and now it's going to have an owner that like is going to be very invested in having this team be very good. And I think for the team, it sucks for Coyotes fans, but I do think this team has a bright future in Utah.
Yeah.
And two things can be true.
Yes. Yeah. So let's get
playoffs.
to playoffs. We'll cover 6 of the 8 series are set. We're still waiting, and that's going back and forth as we speak for right now. But the post-Teal quest continues for former Sharks in the playoffs. You have literally 10 of the 16 teams having ties to the Sharks, ranging from Barclay Goodrow and Johnny Brodzinski in New York, Brent Burns in Carolina. You can go down the list, of course, Joe Pavelski in Dallas, Dylan and DeMello in Winnipeg, Evander Kane in Edmonton, and, of course, Tomas Hertl and Aiden Hill for the Vegas Golden Knights. I ask of this to you first, Ian. Or is there a former Shark you're rooting for in these playoffs?
No, I don't give a shit.
All right. Good night, everyone.
I know it's going to make me sound awful. I don't really care. Usually in the playoffs, like last year it was like I didn't really have a rooting interest going into the playoffs, and it just ended up being the Cats. Will that happen again this year? I don't know, man. Like, it's gonna be one of those things where I'm just gonna be watching a game, and then suddenly I'm gonna hop on a bandwagon. Would I be happy to see a guy like Joe Pavelski win a Stanley Cup? Of course I would. I think that would be fantastic, and I think Joe Pavelski fucking deserves it. But I don't like. But I'm not like actively rooting for it, if that makes sense. Like, I'd be super happy for Brent Burns to win a cup. I'd be super happy for Joe Pavelski to win a cup. When I look at these guys, right? I would even grit my teeth through a fucking Tomas Hertl Stanley Cup, and I'd be happy Tomas Hertl.
Right.
But like, I'm not actively rooting for a specific guy to do a specific thing. I just kind of want to watch playoff hockey.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. Tampa, I don't know. AC Montreal and Duclair, they look nice, but I just don't know. I think if you're putting money on it, which we can't do in California, Tomas Hertl, Joe Pavelski, Brent Burns are probably your best chance. Maybe even Barclay Goodrow with the President's Trophy, but that, again, can be a curse for it on there.
Barclay Goodrow has cups. Fuck off.
Yeah, well, well, fuck you too. All right. While we were cursing away and encouraging 15-year-olds to do the same, apparently, we put the link in the description down below if you want to join our Teal Town USA Playoff Bracket Challenge. The password's also down below where you're watching this, so make sure you sign up. I think you have
people are gonna hate my bracket, man. I'm gonna get so much heat.
It's gonna be fun, and hopefully I want to say AJ and Jerk, who will be doing Pucknologist tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Yes.
So Friday night, they want to get the picks in for all that before the puck drops on the playoffs. So hopefully we'll get our brackets out to them, and they can share all of our predictions for the first round with that. Now, don't worry. We will be back around every time, every round beginning to kind of just get through that. But Pucknologist will wrap things up. On the season and everything for that, but that'll be tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Yes,
as for
Friday,
us,
7 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes. So we'll get to that. Any series that you like, you think will be fun?
I think the Battle of Florida is always a ton of fun. There's a lot of what I like about the playoffs this year is that there's a lot of teams meeting in the first round that need to get the fucking monkey off their back.
Yeah.
It's like you have the Leafs playing the Bruins, right? And I probably would pick probably picking the Bruins in that series. But like, if Toronto can beat Boston, like, is that the kind of a catalyst that they kind of need to go much further in the playoffs?
Kind of like in 2016 with the Sharks in LA.
Yeah, 100%, right? Like, you just wonder if you're going to see that kind of a situation, because you have a couple teams where they really need to get the monkey off their back, and they're going to get an opportunity to do it in the first round, or they're going to be, they're going to be a team that is going to be, or it's going to be just another chapter of pain for some of these teams. I'm fascinated by it.
It's going to be a fun one. I really think it's going to be a really good one. And the Islanders look like they're one of those teams that can be a little nasty and get through them.
I think the Hurricanes are going to.
But they're
playing the Hurricanes, aren't they? Are they playing the Canes or New York? I can't remember.
They're playing the Hurricanes, which
they're fucked.
I mean, the Canes are going to beat them, but it's not going to be an easy beat.
It's going. I disagree. I think I don't think it's going to be I don't think that's going to be much of a series.
So we'll see on that. We'll have the breakdown of that tomorrow on the Pucknologist. West
tomorrow.
And the West
Friday.
There's only two reasons not to be: if you're jail or you're dead. If you're jail, break out. Which
Truckosaurus?
Which team in the West that has home ice is prime for an upset?
Who's playing in the West?
I mean,
there's like so much we don't know.
I mean, you have Vancouver and, well, at the moment, because Chicago has 4 goals on 13 shots, it'll be Vancouver and
I don't
and
like
Nashville.
The only whoever's playing Vegas, that's the team that's going to get upset. Yeah. I hate to say it, but that's the team getting upset. Is whoever's playing Vegas. When all the Kevin Nashes get out of their wheelchairs.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And then I remember the GIF that we had in the group chat. Yeah. So you say Vancouver gets
whoever's playing Vegas is fucked. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. So, I guess it's time to open it up. I mean, we kind of opened it up already.
Okay, so like, you in the audience, you in the chat, you can get your take, and I will try. I will be as nice as fucking possible. If you say something really dumb, I'm going to try and be really, really nice about it.
That's a first, gang. So be fortunate.
Well, it'd be really jerky of me to say, "Hey guys, get your takes in," and then have me rip them apart. I mean, unless you want that. If that's your kink, then like, let me know, and I will to absolutely do that for you.
So while we get that to load up, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I think it's time to tankathon.
No, I want positive. I want positive vibes. Nothing. We're not gonna have a tankathon where no positive vibes, man. I don't need to see fucking like. I don't need to see like Arizona or Utah taking the first pick, someone moving the Sharks down to third, and then like or the Sharks picking second, and then Pittsburgh winning the second lottery. And
all I'm gonna say is I just did it, and San Jose won the lottery. So
well, then there you go. I ruined it for everyone else.
It was the Sharks won the draft lottery, then Calgary moved up 7 spots. We should actually mention that too. Because Seattle beat Minnesota in regulation tonight.
Minnesota.
The Minnesota Wild, yes. Pittsburgh will be in the number 14 spot. So yes. If they win the lottery, they'd go to 4 and 5, and
they'd go to 4.
And well, wouldn't if like
4?
It'd just be 4? So okay. All right, so they would go to 4, and then they would keep their pick, of course, obviously. But if not, the Sharks would have the 14th overall pick in this year's draft.
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, it wasn't as good as it was looking earlier, but again, I think like the chances of them moving up are incredibly minuscule. So watch it happen. No positivity, Ian. Fuck, see what you guys make me fucking do.
Damn it, Ian. But I want to say New Jersey then would be picking 42nd. So the Sharks technically right now, if everything were to stay as it is, and the lottery balls didn't even matter, would have the first overall, 14th overall, and 42nd overall in this year's draft. So,
yeah, it's good, right? Like, I mean, this is where they want to be. This is what all the pain was for. So let's just, let's have some positive thinking. I know. I know. Chicago hurt you. I know they hurt you. I understand.
all right. AO wants the hot takes.
Let's get some. Let's get some
I'm
takes
going through
man.
here. Dave B saying Vancouver wins their first cup.
I mean, I don't hate it. That'd be cool, right? That'd be nice.
You heard it here first from Dave. There, Hot Wheels, Benning, Burroughs, and Ferraro have to go.
Rub a lamp. I mean, look at Mario Ferraro is a guy who I think the love affair with is over. The thing that I always say about Mario Ferraro, and I think it's true, is that Mario Ferraro is a guy where I don't question the engine. I think the engine runs. I think it runs really well. I just don't think there's anyone behind the wheel.
Yeah. Jules saying 1, 14, 33, 42. I'm not mad.
Neither am I.
I forgot the 33. So 4 picks in the first 42 picks in the draft. So that's pretty nice. Let's see. I'm trying to look. Chris Martin, here it is. Do you really think the draft lottery is fixed?
No, I've never thought the draft lottery is fixed. I think that it doesn't make any sense. Like, if you look at big markets, don't always win it. And I've never thought it was fixed. Look at the Detroit Red Wings. Like, go back to if you want to know how fixed it's not, like the Detroit Red Wings, who just moved to a new building and like were trying to build their team. Look how fucked they got in the COVID draft, and then tell me again that it's fixed.
Yeah. I mean, to have Lafreniere not fall to them was a big bummer for them.
They got, but they didn't, like, what did they pick? They picked like 6th or something. Yeah. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, when you want to talk about like historically bad seasons, like our season was really bad, but that one was just as ugly.
Yeah. Let's see. Marty T, good to see you, buddy. Hot take, I think Ian may be the distant relative of Gary Bettman.
Yes, because when we were talking about Utah, I didn't talk about Quebec City. So let's talk about Quebec City first, because I know that's exactly what Marty wants me to do. So Quebec City is obviously mad. They've had a building forever. They've had an ownership group forever. They're waiting for a team to come in. And the reality of it is, and this is what I wish, like, there's a lot of people in my country, again, my countrymen are kind of dumb sometimes when it comes to this shit, and I get it, right? It's patriotic shit that, like, people come in and they're like, oh, well, we love hockey. We do. But no matter where you live in Canada, there's nowhere in Canada you're not being serviced by hockey. Like, if you turn on a game, now maybe you can bitch about blackouts and regional blackouts and all that, and I understand that argument. But if you are in a region of Canada, whether you are in Yellowknife, whether you are in Newfoundland, whether you are in Manitoba, there is a team that is on your regional sports channel, either whether it be Sportsnet or TSN or whatever. You have a team. They are on your sports channel. Adding a team in Quebec right now doesn't make the Canadian TV value any better. It's not going to make it more expensive because there's another team, because regional deals are with the team. They're not with the NHL. They don't count towards HRR, for as far as I know. So I understand people of Quebec being angry. They've had a building forever. They did everything they were supposed to do, and the NHL won't give them a look. But the goal is, and the NHL is still mostly a gate-driven league. They want to be like every other sport. They want to be a rights-driven league. And you can't do that if you aren't in more American markets. So while people will be angry and they will scoff at the fact that the NHL could get up to 36 teams, great. Because they'll be like, oh, well, the major league sports only have fucking 2 teams, or or whatever, right? Like they only have 32 teams. Yeah, and they're all in the States except for one. Major League Baseball, 1 team in Canada. The NBA, one team in Canada. right? The NHL has 7 teams in Canada last check I checked.
Yes.
So like adding an 8th team in Canada doesn't move the needle. Now, do I sympathize with Quebec City? Of course I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you do get up to a stupid number like 36 and Quebec isn't one of them, then you've done everyone a fucking disservice, right? But like, I don't know, man. Like, again, you know, there, and it's always going to be like, you're going to get these stupid talking heads on Canadian television. They're going to say, oh, they could put another team in Toronto. Toronto's a shitty fucking hockey city. It's not a hockey city. It's a Leaf city. The World Juniors don't do particularly well when they're there. The junior hockey teams don't do particularly well when they're there. The only team that does good there is the Leafs. And the only reason that they want an extra other team in Toronto is because they hope to God that they would get cheaper tickets to go watch the Leafs without going to fucking whatever the fuck, Scotiabank Center, whatever the fuck it is now.
Right.
So yeah, so I think that was the rant Marty wanted to get out of me. There you go. Me losing my Canadian citizenship by not defending the we need more hockey in Canada. We have so much hockey in Canada. We don't know what to fucking do with the hockey we have.
I mean, and as you see, as a distant relative of Gary Bettman, I mean, you see how anti-Canadian he was about it right now. The game's never been stronger.
If you wanted to, here's the thing, right? If you wanted to, if the goal was to pry all the teams out of Canada and make sure they all failed, like if you don't think that Gary Bettman would fight for a Canadian franchise, maybe not to the extent he fought for Phoenix. I will give you that. I don't think anyone would fight for anything as much as Gary Bettman has fought for Arizona. But like, if you wanted to pull the teams out of Canada, aren't the Senators getting relocated to Salt Lake City or something when they were up for sale? But it was never, the relocation was never on the map for the Ottawa Senators. It was always going to get sold to a group that wanted to keep the team in Ottawa.
Right. But
like whenever someone tells you that like Gary Bettman just wants to ruin hockey in Canada and pull the teams, just fucking remember the Ottawa Senators are still there. The Calgary Flames are still there.
I would have to think if the Arizona Coyotes were in the Eastern Conference, and forget geography for a moment here, if they were in the Eastern Conference, wouldn't you think that they would probably put them in Quebec? I think it's just a matter of which conference they would be in.
No, then they would go to Atlanta.
Well, that's true too. That is true. Let's keep going with some of these things. We got about 1:40 left in regulation for Kings and Blackhawks, and then we might know the playoff matchups completely. John Swenson, is Nikolai Knizhov gone? I spent most of the last Barracuda home game watching him and Thompson. Were the injuries just too much for him to rebound? And Puck Guy, I had the same seats for that game. Oh, those are nice seats. Nikolai and thank you again for that.
Fantastic question. Let's take a look. Nikolai Knizhov's an interesting guy. He has another year under his deal, and it's at 1.1. It's 1.25 million. He's a guy who I could see that maybe they try to move in the summer, but I don't hate the idea of him coming back. I don't know if he has a future on the Sharks, but I do like him on the Barracuda. So selfishly, I'd like to see him back on the Barracuda, even though that's probably not what he would like personally. But I mean, he's on a one-way deal, so he's gonna, if you can make 1.25 million playing on the Barracuda, it's good money if you can get it. You know what? I don't know. He's under contract, so I assume he'll be back next year. But he could be a guy that they move in the summer too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Gotcha.
LA ties it.
Yeah, LA just tied it with 121 left. If that score holds, they will get Edmonton in round 1, and Dallas would get Vegas. I
don't know if I like Dallas and Vegas, man. That's rough. Yeah. I am not nearly as bold on Vegas hosting Dallas as I would be on Vancouver.
Gotcha. Felix saying, Puck Guy and Ian, do you see Utah honoring the Kachina if there's ever a reverse retro or heritage jersey 3.0 program?
No, because they don't own the IP. This is where it's like, this is an expansion team. Well, this is the expansion team. People are going to come at you because the IP for the Coyotes sticks with Morello. So unless if like 5 years passes and he doesn't, you know what I mean? Like maybe he loses it at that point. But No, I think that if the Coyotes do come back, whether it be Morello or whether it's another person, and they don't bring back the Kachina, they've fucked up.
Yeah. Let's see here. If Chicago wins the draft again, do you think it's fixed then?
No, I think they bring in a completely separate entity to come in and do it.
Yeah.
Look, it sucks, right? I get it, and I understand. I said this earlier, right? Like you can be mad at actual things instead of making up things to be mad at. It's cool. You instead of being mad at like a shadowy government agent clusterfuck, you can be mad at the real government, even if you voted for them. It's fine.
Gotcha.
Like you can. That's my take. You can be mad at real things.
Yeah. Trayvon saying, "I swear I better not see LeBanc next year."
He's not coming back. Like that's such a for fucking gone conclusion at this point. Like Kevin LeBanc's not coming back.
Yeah.
Like he was in David Quinn's doghouse or whatever all year. Like they're not. Dave. See, to me, Kevin LeBanc's gonna be a guy. I don't think he's going like I've seen some people say like, oh, he's gonna go to a contender for nothing and it's gonna be fine. I think Kevin LeBanc's like he's gonna be one of those reclamation guys. He's gonna sign in a place like Anaheim or Chicago. And they're gonna if they can turn him around or get something out of him at either the deadline or turn him into a depth piece that they can use going forward, then it's gonna be found money for them. I don't subscribe to the belief that Kevin LeBanc's NHL career is over, but I think he's going to sign for peanuts this year with a not contending team with the chance of either reclamating and either moving at the trade deadline or being a depth piece that they can use going forward.
Yeah. The game is now going to overtime, so unless LA pulls their goalie for some odd reason and Chicago scores an empty netter, because that'd be so Connor Bedard, the West would be set. It would be Vegas and Dallas, Colorado and Winnipeg, Nashville and Vancouver, and LA and Edmonton would be your West bracket set up there for that.
Ooh. Fun.
So, interesting there. Ricky saying, if the Sharks win the lottery, who's going to Vegas? I am. Jules is, I think, almost is as well. Brycar 75, I live in Peterborough. Total Hockey City. Happy to go to OHL games, overpaying ridiculous money to see the clips.
Yeah, junior hockey's fucking awesome, bro. I love junior hockey.
I would love to go to.
I need to go to
game.
more junior. I need to go to more OHL games. I think that's something that I do. Like next year, I'm gonna go to more OHL games. I need to stop watching the fucking Barracuda.
I would love to see the Sioux. I would love to go to Oshawa. My friend Chris Creamer was originally from Oshawa there. But if Musty is back in Sudbury, I mean that'd be nice, especially if the ties of Shoresy there. So we'll see. Let's see what else we got here. Ricky saying Knyzhov better than Ohotiuk.
Fuck man, that's a low bar. That's a super low bar.
Ao Pavelski is a Vegas killer, so I don't worry.
Yeah.
John saying, what is the Utah team going to do on Sundays? It's a little ghost town when I visited Salt Lake on Sundays.
I don't know. Do the Jazz play on Sundays? Do people go to those games? I assume they do, right? Like it's I understand that it's Salt Lake City and there's a large Mormon population there, but I feel like it's also like a really quickly growing area. I can't imagine they're all Mormon. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. I've never been. I think it's fine. We'll see, right? I think hockey's going to do really well in Utah.
Yeah, it should be nice. The arena, the Delta Center is oofa, but it's a nice temporary home for now until
LA wins.
LA wins in overtime, so that really seals it up there for you. Felix saying, more of a question for Ian, but are you happy seeing where hockey is going in terms of skill?
It's never been better. Like hockey's
wow, that
never
sounded
been
like
better.
he was a relative of Gary Bettman right there.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Like I've been found out. I am actually Gary Bettman's long lost love child.
That game's never been better.
The game's never been better. I don't do it as good as Kevin does.
That's
but
true.
honestly though, look, scoring's up. The game is way more like the tweaks that they've made to the game for the most part have been good. Obviously coaches fucking ruin everything. So like 3-on-3 isn't as fun as it was when they first started doing it. But like, I mean, scoring's up. You had guys, Austin Matthews scores 69 goals this year.
Nice.
I never thought we'd see a guy hit 50 goals again.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think fucking Nathan McKinnon had 140 points. Like, just fucking dumb. Fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, the one thing, like, yeah, I've watched a lot of bad hockey this year between the Sharks and the Barracuda, but, like, I wish I took more time to smell the roses and watch some of the good teams, because I think when you look at, like, the numbers guys are putting up, like, it's awesome, right?
Yep. Brightcar 75. I did see Musty in November. He looks like an absolute stud. Yeah. Been watching him here and there online for Sudbury, and Sudbury got swept tonight by North Bay.
They did get swept, yeah. So the Musty season's over. Maybe he comes in, plays a game for the Barracuda. I don't know. Barracuda have 2 games left this weekend, I think. So maybe,
yes.
But
against Tucson,
I don't think he played today, though. I didn't see him on the sheet today, and I don't know why that is. And again, it's just because I've been busy with everything else.
Yeah, I didn't see the stat sheet for that, so
I might, and it might just be me missing it. But I don't think he played today, and I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah. Dave mentioning, and this might be why the question came up about Sundays. If anyone doesn't know, the law in Utah doesn't allow for alcohol purchases on Sunday. So
I mean, what do the Utah Jazz do? That's my question.
That's the curious one. And the outdoor game on
he's
Salt
injured.
Lake.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Jules.
The outdoor game in Salt Lake will be interesting. It will smell awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look at I know there's gonna be like a lot of like things like, oh, they're Gary's new love child. Yeah. You know what? For Arizona though, I will say this, and again, you want to talk about things not being fixed. For Arizona being Gary's love child, Arizona got fucked by the draft lottery way more times than it ever benefited them.
Big time. So, all right. What is it? Yes, you can buy alcohol on Sundays in Utah. In Utah, you can purchase beer on any day, including Sundays, from gas stations, convenience stores, and grocery stores. So, all right, there we go with that.
There you have it.
So
now it's time for Go Utah.
Yeah. So now,
the expansion Sharks, there was no draft. Lindros is the whole reason there is a lottery. There was no lottery when Lindros went. It was just the NHL being like, no, you can't have the first pick. Sorry.
Right. And we ended with Pat Falloon over.
Was it Lindros the reason we had the lottery, or was it after?
No, you know what part? I mean, you could say maybe Lindros, but I would say it was the potential tanking of the Ottawa Senators their first year. And
yeah, I can't remember when the lottery came in.
I want to say it was.
My brain hurts. And I don't remember if it was the Lindros tanking or if there was a player after that did. Maybe it was Daigle. I don't know. Imagine taking for Alexander Daigle. But I digress.
I want to say it was 95.
Yeah, I think it was. It might have been Daigle. I imagine taking for Alexander Daigle.
Or was it Alexei Yashin?
I don't know.
But it came in the mid 90s.
Yeah, there was no lottery for like the lottery didn't screw the Sharks. There was no lottery at that time.
Yeah, I mean the Sharks got screwed one time with Ottawa because while the Sharks had the most losses in NHL history, Ottawa only had 11 wins that year, and they got the first overall pick to get Alexei Yashin.
It was Daigle. That's amazing. Imagine tanking for Alex Daigle. Well, I mean, again, like you're right. Like we've seen this before. We've seen this. We've seen this show before where guys like, oh, this guy's gonna be the best, and then it doesn't pan out. Yeah.
So we'll see on that. The Sharks kind of peek into the draft lottery. The Sharks have won the draft lottery one time before, but in a pre-made deal with Tampa because Dean Lombardi absolutely needed Brian Marchment as part of the deal. Tampa had the option to swap picks. So Tampa went number 1 Sharks were number 2. Eventually, they traded down to number 3.
Would they get Vinny Lecavalier that year?
They got Vincent Lecavalier that year.
Fucking hell.
And then they swapped picks with Nashville, so Nashville selected David Legwand, and then the Sharks went number 3 and got Brad Stewart out of it.
Huh. Interesting.
So,
Fascinating stuff. I don't know, man. All right.
So with that,
I think we're 90 minutes and I think we're good now.
Yeah. So with that, we will start wrapping things up. In case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, and trust me, for an hour and a half, you got some fun.
This is a good show, man. Like,
yeah, you got
we
some
always
fun
do good
chat.
at the end of this. Like,
Yes. You can check us out on tealtownusa.com. You can listen to the audio wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, and I know I got to, get rid of that Google one because now it's YouTube Music. YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, Odyssey. Of course, if you're watching the replay on this show, let's get those likes up. Come on, 25.
Please.
Come on, let's
Please,
get the
please,
40.
please.
Come on. Why not? Hit that subscribe button. Of course, hit that notification bell. And this is where it comes really handy now. When we go live, Pucknologist Friday night,
out of the blue.
We feel like we're going to talk about Macklin Celebrini. We're going to talk about Demidov, Boynam. You know it, you love it, you want to have more content. We are going to be doing that a lot more in the off season as well as it is, and I know the Pucknologist mentioned it the other night, probably one of the more interesting off seasons in Sharks history.
This is a big one, man. This is a big one for the San Jose Sharks because obviously, like, what happens with the ping pong balls is going to have a big impact on things. But I think it's also, now it'll be interesting to see how they, what they do with their draft picks and how they kind of do stuff there. And also, this is the blankest slate that I think any GM on this team has ever had to work with for a long time. So yeah, I'm fascinated to see what happens this summer, man. And obviously, when shit does happen this summer, we will be here to talk about it. Some combination of us will come on and break it down. But man, like, you know what? Like, again, I always try to make sure that I express how my gratitude for everyone, and not just for the audience, but the rest of the people we work with. I'm always, I'm grateful for the opportunity to do shows with so many different people. And I appreciate obviously the work that everyone's done to make this thing continue to churn on. Like, next year's our 10th year.
Yeah.
Decade of this.
A decade. We haven't missed a game in 9 years, and it's going to keep going with that. So let's get to our thanks for everything for Teal Town. Of course, AJ and Hockey Jerk with the Pucknologist doing their thing. AJ doing the quotes. Jerk doing his thing with the Discord. Jules has been an absolute lifesaver for us.
100%. Yeah, Jules, like, Jules coming in and being able to pick up the number of shows she's picked up has really saved my sanity. At the end of last season,
we were losing.
I was so fucking burnt by the end of last season. And like this season, like, I'm sad the season's over, and I'm definitely looking forward to a little bit of a break from the regular schedule. But I'm excited to do content this summer, whereas last summer I didn't want to look at my webcam and I didn't want to look at my microphone. Like, I just wanted them in a corner of my room where I never had to look at them. I don't feel that way going into this summer. Now, maybe if things don't go well in the lottery, maybe I'll feel that way again. But right now, like, I'm excited to do some summer content. So I don't know what that looks like yet. Obviously, I think, again, there will be a little bit of a break taken. But as things progress, we'll come on and do stuff. So
so shout out to Jules, Dana Meyerson, even late at night, I know, and in Buffalo too, or Buffalo outside Syracuse. 2:00 in the morning, and as with you, Ian, I mean it's 1:10.
The East Coast, the East Coast shows are on the West Coast time, where they're a grind sometimes. So I didn't realize Dana was that's what Dana did, man. Like, props.
Yeah, Mark Eisenberg, which you'll be starting to see a lot more as we get closer and closer to the draft time.
100%
in from New York. Landy, Erik, you spelled the name the right way. Thank you. I mean, you talk about Jules and Dana picking up shows here and there. Landy did a freaking awesome job letting me have some rest when I can.
Yeah, Landy was definitely like I always have a lot of props to the people that host shows, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
Those were my favorites. And there's a few situations where Landy was able to step up clutch, so that I could just come on here and focus on doing what I do best, which is talking into a microphone. And right. So yeah, Landy, appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. Kevin Lacey, I know you touched upon Teal tinted glasses, another guy that you'll probably be seeing a lot more in the off season.
Yeah, me and Kevin are going to sit down with, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Me and Kevin, something to look forward to. I'm pretty sure we're kind of nailing down the time and the details, but I'm saying almost positively that almost 100, like 98%, that me and Kevin are gonna sit down with Nick Nolenberger and kind of chew up the Barracuda, to put a kind of a lid on that. Again, it's like, I'd say it's between 95-98%. It's probably gonna happen. Again, stay tuned, hit the bell, do all this stupid YouTube stuff, and you'll know when we do it.
And of course, Felix Chow, helping us in everywhere possible in between. Thank you very much, my friend. For all of us. From the Sharks, of course, we do have to give some shout outs. Jim Sparacco, our media rep, throughout the years, he's always given us info and heads ups on a lot of things, and just been our media liaison. I'll be honest, we had like 5-6 credentials for that Ottawa game on March 9th. And he's like, we don't even give that many credentials for NBC. We're just trying to do this, like, but that was an extra special fun show to do on there. Doug Mentz, Chief Marketing Officer, we'll be honest, we'll pull back the curtain a little bit, gave us some hints when the center ice was going to have the Finn logo back in August, and went, maybe we'll have a third jersey. So we'll see that. Of course, Jonathan Becker, one of our good guys there, as the president. We appreciate that. The media guys, of course, Randy and Drew, which both personally know. Brett Hedekin, Brody, one of our original supporters when we started this whole thing back in 2015. Ted Ramey, the Sharks Audio Network, along with the great Hall of Famer. We forgot to mention that Dan Rusanowski.
Yeah, Dan Rusanowski
on there.
The goat
with that. Tara Sloan as well, and of course, we couldn't enhance our show without Uncle Darren Stevens, Shark Stats on Twitter. Really appreciate that. From the press, of course, we have to give to the OG of all of the love that we get from Shalana Goldman, and Curtis Pashelka there. I also shout out Shang, Max, JD, and Liz for helping me out during the AHL All-Star Weekend. Let me bug them around while I was kind of the newbie out of all of them. It had been a while since I'd been in the locker room for the All-Star festivities for that. And of course, you, Ian, thank you for putting up with my crap for most of the year, for everything. And let's be honest here too. All our families and friends who are like, sorry, we got to do a show. I got
my wife's the real hero. I'm not gonna lie.
My mom and my girlfriend Amanda, just putting up with all of our crap. Hey, I got to do a show. Hey, I got to make graphics, all that stuff. So we appreciate each and every one of you. And most importantly, to all of you who watch, over the 3,000 subscribers, I think we got over 75 people watching live at one time on here.
Woo-hoo!
We can't thank you enough. We do this for you as our fellow fans. It's a pleasure and an honor. And let's be honest, after seeing what happened with Arizona, you do need to give the love and the compassion.
Hug your Sharks jersey just a little bit tighter tonight.
Yeah. Be glad you're part of that. So, Ian, you're at Ian Blogs Hockey. Your final thoughts?
I am.
And
My final thought. Well, I think you thanked everyone else. I'm going to thank you.
Hang on.
Okay.
Your final thoughts, but then I also want you to answer the poll question because I just remember I put it up last night. Your favorite positive moment of this season.
Favorite positive moment of the season. I think honestly, I think the Eklund-Hattie game.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think William Eklund was a guy who got some bullets, some deserved. Like, I'm not going to say like he had like the greatest season ever to happen, but he had a really good season. But there was times where it was down, and he was taking a lot of bullets. So I was really happy to see him have that game. I think that's the game for me, man. I think, seeing Magnus Krona get his first win in the NHL after being put into some just fucking brutal situations with this team, like, that was really nice. I like those kind of things. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that make me get out of bed and like watch this team, as much as like maybe I went a little hard after Devon Cooley, but seeing him get his first win, and that was cool, winning the Shark Tank, and he gets to hug Sharky and all that. Like, there was some cool stuff that happened this year, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was bad, but it wasn't all bad, and I'm glad that we got to do that. Again, I just kind of want to echo what you said. I want to thank you because I think, you can't thank yourself. That's just really dumb. I want to thank you for what you do, because I still think, like, I've said this many times before, like, I just feel like without Puck Guy, this shit just doesn't happen. Like, I don't know where we would be without Puck Guy. So yeah, man, I'm grateful for those things. I want to thank, obviously, everyone that you thanked, because they, like, it's a team effort, right?
Yeah.
Nobody does this alone. Nobody, I think that, I value the contributions of the team, and I'm thankful for the team. And mostly I'm just thankful that you guys come on here and, like, be like, here's $10, let Ian just talk, after like just a really ugly loss. And I hope that, like, I really wanted to bring my A game tonight. So I hope that, for all you guys that did donate to the thing, and again, we appreciate the donations so much. They help keep the lights on. They make sure we can pay for the SoundCloud. I know there's a lot of jokes made about like what it does, but what it really does, what you're really
Yes.
paying for, is you keep the website up, you keep the podcast coming on audio, right? Like, that's what this really pays for. It helps send prize packages out on the Pucknologist, which is again tomorrow at 7:00 Pacific. Friday.
Way to sneak that in there, buddy.
I'm really good at this now. You know what I mean? And that's what you're paying for, and like, it's awesome because it pays for the overhead, so that nobody is paying for the overhead out of pocket, and
right.
That's awesome, right? Like, I would never want to be a show that had to like bombard you with ads so that we could make a little scratch to pay for the SoundCloud. The fact that you guys generously just donate to us to keep those things running is, I can't express my thank you enough for that. You guys are awesome. I would hate to, like, making, again, like, you, as rough as this season was, like, I'm still depressed that this is over, because and I don't get to do regular content now. But again, we will have content going forward. Ring the bell, hit the like button, leave us a comment, do all the things that help us in the YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate you guys so much. And I'm sure I'm gonna write a big diatribe on Twitter saying the same things for anyone who's not listening live.
All right, appreciate it, buddy, and thank you for everything you do here as well.
Hit the last super chat there. And
yep. Yes. So, congrats to me on your second Wheel of Fortune appearance. Okay, so a little bit of a spoiler alert. If you haven't followed me on social, first off, do. I'm literally at everywhere on the social media at PuckGuy14. I was invited by Wheel of Fortune to be a part of their 8,000th show week. I did that a couple of weeks ago. We recorded 5 shows, and then we also got into 3 of the last 5 shows that Pat Sajak is going to be on in there. You will see me. I did not get to play, though. That was kind of left out on the open. We weren't sure about it, so but it was an interesting experience. You be lookout for May 20th to 24th. is when you'll actually see me in the audience with 75 former contestants that were out there doing that. And then June, I think 3rd through 7th, somewhere in that frame will be Pat's last week. We got to be a part of that. So be on the lookout for that. But again, Pucknologist on Friday, tomorrow at 7 p.m. AJ and Jerk will recap the season from their
I want to say
perspective.
one more thing before we go.
And probably do all kinds of postseason playoff stuff going there for it. So, Ian, last words.
Last thought. I just want to make very clear something. Very clear. So Jesse said, imagine Ian having to do Liquid IV ad read. Yeah, I don't want to do ad reads. I'm not. This wasn't a shot at people that do ad reads, like people that do this to try and supplement their income. That's not a shot at them. I'm just happy that because of the support that you give us, that we don't have to resort to those things. That's all I'm saying. This isn't a shot at JD. Please don't fucking go to JD on Twitter and be like, Ian took a shot. I didn't take a shot at JD. I love JD. JD's my guy.
Awesome. JD doing what he does, and the other podcasts as well. They are freaking amazing. The schedule is out for round 1 of Vancouver and Nashville will start Sunday night at 7 p.m. Colorado and Winnipeg will start Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Vegas and Dallas will start at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, and LA and Edmonton will start Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time for that. So, and that covers it up for all that for that. And then of course the East starts on Saturday and has a couple of games on Sunday there as well.
Did I mention Pucknologist is tomorrow? It's tomorrow. All right, let's go.
So thank you very much. We appreciate it. We look forward to being with you throughout the off season. Of course, that'll be fun. But most importantly, we will be back for season 10 of Teal Town After Dark, as our good colleague Rocket and Gen X have said, oh my. So until then, thank you for being a part of this. We appreciate you. We love you. Until then, keep it real. Keep it Teal. Keep it real Teal. Teal together, everyone, and keep your hockey lottery odds going. We will see you very, very soon.
Positive thoughts.
Yes.
Do not get in my mentions with, it's all over. I don't want to hear it. Good night.
Have a good night.